New wind installations have declined 45% year on year in 2023 versus 2022. At the same time, solar installations are expected to grow about 52% over the next year. Moody's warns that the race by utility companies to install large solar and wind systems may lead to price volatility because of overproduction of renewables in the coming years. And a new study finds that most of the utility scale solar projects that are out there are in excellent or good condition. I'm Jay Warmke with Blue Rock Station, and this is the news from the solar industry for the week of September 17th. Now, the North American Solar Scan, which is a study done by a company called Zeltview, has analyzed about 90% of all of the large solar arrays. These are arrays larger than 1 megawatts, and they give them ratings between AAA and DDD. These ratings are for power loss, for module condition, as well as cell temperatures on the panels. And what they found is 51% of these arrays are in excellent or good condition, meaning they received a rating of BBB or better. And the larger systems, or those systems with tracking, tend to be in better condition than the smaller systems. New wind installations in the U.S. are down about 45% in the first 2 quarters of 2023 versus the same period of time in 2022. And at the same time, these projections are saying that new solar will grow by about 52% over the coming year. Now, in 2023, the industry has installed about 2,800 megawatts of wind power. And in the same time, in 2022, the industry installed about 4,800 megawatts of wind. Now, this isn't necessarily a shift from wind to solar. What has resulted in this decline are primarily delays due to supply chain disruptions, increased cost of raw materials, as well as delays in the regulatory area of trying to get these systems connected to the grid. There is a large amount of wind in the pipeline. In fact, over the next 5 years, there are nearly 80,000 megawatts of wind projects that are underway. So we should see this trend reverse itself very quickly. The 17th annual electric report by Black & Veatch, which is a consulting company, have found that there are growing problems on the grid, many of which are caused by disruptions due to severe weather events and wildfires that are largely due to climate change, as well as the EVs, electric vehicles, being integrated into an already strained grid, and the threat of cyber attack. Now, they surveyed 650 grid operators as part of this survey, and for the first time, fully a third of them found that the integration of distributed energy onto the grid is presenting a greater challenge than what placed second, which is an aging infrastructure on the grid. So that is the second highest concern. Now, 56% of those surveyed said they are afraid that their companies are going to be the victims of ransomware attacks through cyber attacks that have been increasingly happening with grid operators. And 66%, or 2/3 of those surveyed, are not really sure how the integration of electric vehicles is going to affect the grid in the coming years. Moody's has announced that they're concerned in a recent report that there will be an over installation of renewable energy generating systems on the grid as grid operators move towards that as a production source. This is largely happening because wind and solar are significantly less expensive than comparable generating sources using natural gas or coal. But because of the variable nature of solar and wind, that the wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine, they tend to over-install capacity trying to adjust for this variable nature. Now, batteries, which might address that, variability are not keeping pace with the installation of new renewable energy. So that's leading to this concern. Now, price volatility is not anything new. We see this with fossil fuels on the grid as well. Texas, for example, is very heavily dependent on natural gas. And in recent years, when they've seen severe weather disruptions due to freezing, we've seen huge price spikes because of the inability to get natural gas delivered when it's needed. And Solar Edge is getting into the utility scale system with their inverters. They've announced that they're offering now a 330 kilowatt inverter that works with 1300 watt optimizers. Now, these systems are designed for community solar, for agrivoltaics, as well as small and mid-sized utility scale ground mounted systems. They do also claim that these inverters will operate at about 99% efficiency. And that's the news from the solar industry for this week. We'll see you next week.